I originated from a boundless queendom. Royalty reigns in my family. My that comes oh so naturally, so homage is paid to this majesty. I was birthed into this greatness. I bathed in it to stay steady. My divine purpose was purchased with precious blood before conception, therefore I was born ready. Unlike Celie, I was groomed to be a winner as a beginner, like her sister Nettie. I'm the quiet storm behind you. I rain down before you ever notice me. You just happen to look up in my verses, be dropped in like a plague of words from God's rotary.
You are now tuned in to Everyday People Radio Show on Intellectual Radio. This is an iHeart Radio show. Welcome. If you're returning from last week, I appreciate you. If this is your first time, please stay tuned. This is going to be a blessed day. 2018, this is going to be an awesome journey. I'm glad that you guys came back here with me. Today I have a couple guests for you, but before I get started, I'm just going to give you a quick overview of me. Again, I'm April Deshawn, your host. I was born and reared in Tampa, Florida by my mother, Joanne. I have a host of aunts, cousins, nieces, not nieces, but aunts, cousins that I love. Shout out to my aunt, Angelina Pender. Formerly, she's now Angelina Davis. Congratulations, love. I appreciate you so much for your love and your support of me. So I'm not only a host, I'm also an artist. And I'm trying to get some other things under my resume, working on some books. I'll let you guys know about that as those things come to fruition, and a CD. So the CD is going to be hot. Y'all heard just now, Butterfly, Black Butterfly. Just like her CD, she's a butterfly too. We're hot. That's what we do. So again, God is just blessing me. I prayed and asked him to take the limits off, and he's done just that. And I'm just so thankful for where he's taking me, where my life is going. It's absolutely awesome. I'm so open and ready for everything that he has for me, everything that he has for me to speak as he commands. I'm going to do that. Our tongue is the most powerful and influential muscle in our body. We always hear and say, watch your mouth, but the Bible actually says, watch your heart. Specifically, Proverbs 4:23, guard your heart above all things, for from it flows issues of life. And then if my heart weren't enough to deal with, there's also the mind. For as a man thinks within himself, so is he. Make sure you're thinking positive thoughts about yourself, because you have a lot coming at you from all angles to tell you the opposite of what God called you, which was a masterpiece. You are a masterpiece. Believe that, understand that, and walk in that. What you speak from your mouth is a direct result of what's in your heart and what's on your mind. Is it positive or is it negative? That's a question. Are you practicing good or evil? It's not a joke. This is not Marvel Comics. This is real life. Both life and death are in the power of the tongue. Make a conscious decision and choose wisely. We're going to take a quick poetry break. And when we return, you're going to meet my special guest, the play director and founder of Walden Productions, David Walden, and leading cast member, Stephen Mosley. Upcoming, they have a historical hit play, Skipper. Enjoy the art.
Little bros, misguided, closed-minded to the history, only darkness is shown. They trouble youths, accustomed to what they used to. Hearts turned cold, felt alone from an adolescent fatherhood that was stole. A child filled with hurt since birth, it gets worse as he grows. His education slows as he gets old with no growth and no goals. Our little bros, lost in the hood, it's on the corners, they just stick around. It's a thirst for blood money now. You know, that quick route to 6 below the ground. He lives with no worries, no fears to die. Taking him further from reaching the sky with psychological suicide. He lives without knowing what living is, then die. Our little bros, it's sad though. Our little bros, our little bros.
Ooh, our little bros. You can be somebody's hero. You can be the leader. You don't always have to follow. Our little bros take the lights with you wherever you go. Our little bros. You can pave the way, no matter what no one else has to say. Each day is for you to make a new day. Ooh, my little bros.
Have mercy on the soul at the crossroads. Maybe this is the way it was supposed to go. Due time, you murder young, fighting for the moles and folks. That family that gave you money and dope when yours was distant and broke. Our little bros searching for every way that's wrong. On the come up, knowing any day you can get smoked. Instead of higher learning, it teaches to fix us. It's robberies and stickers. Lost in the
Welcome back.
The pills and the spirit to kill.
Welcome back to Everyday People Radio Show with your host, April Deshawn. Today, I'm joined with special guests David Walden and Stephen Mosley. You're going to get to know them and learn about an upcoming historical hit stage play called Skipper. It's based on Milton Oliver Lee III. He was a Vietnam War veteran who gave his life for his platoon. Awesome and beautiful story to tell, something that doesn't get told enough. So we're gonna go ahead and get talking to them. The number to call if you guys want to call in and ask them questions or speak with us or give any type of encouragements, the number is 708-223-8953. Again, you're listening to you're listening to Everyday People Radio Show on Intellectual Radio and iHeart Radio station. So we're going to go ahead and start asking you guys questions. How are you guys today?
Fantastic.
Great. I know the traffic was horrible. Again, we do apologize for the delay. The traffic is horrendous out here. Where did you guys grow up?
Well, I grew up on the south side of Chicago. I'm a protege of Robert Taylor Housing Projects.
Okay.
And also a protege of Outgale Gardens and of Roseland as well.
Okay.
So most of the time is on the south side.
All right. So
Chicago,
you're listening to, that was Stephen Mosley. David, where are you from?
I grew up in Robbins, Illinois, suburb of Chicago, and eventually, when I came to about 13, I moved to Chicago.
Okay.
To the south side also, around 35th and King Drive.
Okay. So what was it like for you growing up, Stephen, in the city of Chicago?
Well, being in the house with my grandmother, I learned a whole lot about cakes.
Okay.
Even a lot of them jelly cakes made from scratch.
Okay.
The Mississippi cakes and the big family barbecues and lighting the fireworks and on the 4th of July, and the family just being together. And
Okay.
I remember a lot of things like that. I remember a lot of times my family had disagreements, though. I didn't like that.
Right.
But everything else was cool.
Understood.
Mm-hmm.
So you grew up with your grandmother. Your grandmother raised you.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Walden?
Yeah. Well, I grew up, it was 13 of us in one household. So I grew up not knowing poverty, because my mother knew how to stretch things. She put on a pot of beans, 3 times a week, different beans, of course, and cornbread, and we would eat like we were kings, and without missing a beat, And I learned to hustle early. At that time, it was an A&P grocery store. And I had a little red wagon. So I would go to the A&P grocery store and take people's groceries home for them. And they came to know me, and they allowed me to take their groceries home. A lot of times, after school.
Okay, so you always been interested in being a help in the community.
Yes.
Even as a child.
Yes.
That's awesome. That's a beautiful thing.
Yes.
How did you first get into directing plays?
Well, I actually did it in school. In school, I was first got interested in proofreading and editing and the school newspaper. Yeah. And from there, I became interested in performing arts and drama.
Okay.
Yeah.
So did you do a little acting yourself?
Yes. Yes, I was on Channel 11 and places like that a couple of times. Yeah. When the old TV, when you hold the board up, but we had a map. We would hold the map up and all the words was on the back of the map. And all we had to do was read real good. And I was a good reader because I had a lot of comic books. My people bought me comic books, and I learned to read before I even went to school, believe it or not. Wow. Before I started first grade, we started first grade back then, I learned to read comic books. So I could read, and it was fun.
So you were in the cue card days, no teleprompters.
Exactly, and it was fun.
Yeah, it's important to put those fundamentals in with the children when they're young. My son, all my kids pretty much knew more than they needed to know when they went to school because I was a stay-at-home mom when my kids were small. So, yeah, so that's always a good thing. And Stephen Mosley, how did you get into acting?
Well, the thing about it, I never wanted to pursue a career as an actor. My number one thing was music. Number one love was music. Grew up singing in the church, sang with Walt Women in the Soul Church in Chicago, sing with All City Choir, one of the best choirs in the nation. Won this big recording contract as a recording artist, but God had a bigger plan with the film and television.
Amen.
And I was always in and out of stage plays since I was about 5 in kindergarten.
Okay.
With the YMCA at 13. And here I am now.
Awesome.
You know, and like what, over 10 years later,
what
a main role, a lead role, I turned down 3 times when I first started doing film and television.
God said you better, and you better now.
Hey, look, he said you get it or you lose it.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
Yeah, that's very true.
I've heard it.
It's very true.
I've heard it. That's a beautiful thing. I'm glad you stepped out in faith and you were walking where God told you to walk. So that's awesome.
I received that.
You have a beautiful gift and it's going to go a long way.
Thank
you. That being said, I'm putting you on the spot.
Uh-oh.
I need you to sing one of my favorite songs by Music Soul Child called Love. Can you do that for us?
Yeah, I can do it. You know, life is always full of unexpectancies, but you know, hey, it is what it is.
Just give us a little snippet.
Love, so many people, so many things I got to tell you, but I'm afraid I don't know how, 'cause there's a possibility you'll look at me differently, love. Ever since the first moment I spoke your name, from then on I knew that by you being in my life, things will destined to change, 'cause love, so many people use your name in vain. Love, those who have faith in you sometimes go astray. Love, through all the ups and downs, the joy hurts. Love, for better or worse, I still will choose you first. Oh, ooh.
Thank you. Hand claps out there.
That was just a little something, y'all. Just a little something. The best is more to come. More to come.
Lovely. Lovely. That is so awesome.
Yes.
So what was your first performance as an actor? Is this your first performance as an actor?
No, my first performance was I was a little boy, 5 years old.
Okay.
Kindergarten. We had the little black and white gloves. I had the little flooding pants on, the penny loafers looking like Michael Jackson. That was one of my favorite artists.
That's
especially
good
back then. Still is my favorite artist. But you know, I'm like, we was doing this play representation of blacks and whites, ebony and ivory.
Okay.
I don't know if you remember the song by Stevie Wonder. Ebony and ivory live together in perfect harmony. I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. I remember. See that? You pulling stuff out the crate.
That's what I do.
That's good. Yes.
So that was your first experience acting where you were like super nervous. Can you even remember that day?
Well, I was in kindergarten. I didn't want to be separated. I know my teacher kept on moving me to one side of the stage. I didn't know why, but because of my voice. They always saw the potential that I never knew that I had in myself.
Okay.
You know, and they just saw the potential and they like, hey, you know, and I hated that. But the thing about it is that, you know, you can't hate what you've been gifted in. But when you're, you know, a certain size, you're a child, you can't really understand why certain things happen, but now I understand why everything worked the way it worked. It came together the way it came together.
How long did it take for you to understand your gift and understand people's reaction to it?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, it didn't happen till after I was 21 when I went to when I got my heart broken the first time by my first love. That's when I knew what my true gifts was. Eventually, later on down the road, and especially after losing my first brother to gun violence, that's when I really started coming to the true gifts, hidden gifts and talents I had within myself, as far as the film and television. I never wanted to pursue a career in film and TV, but my uncle, thanks to my uncle Pete, that inspired me to a program called Probation Challenge. That was the first state mandated program for ex-offenders in the entire country of the United States. It's been around for 4 decades. So I was given an opportunity to come in through the TV program and with my expertise in music and computers, being a network technician, and being able to take that knowledge and just expand it. And that's got into the TV and ended up becoming an assistant director of the PCC Worldwide Television and Radio.
Oh, wow. You are the director of what?
I became the assistant director of the Worldwide Television and Radio, and thank God for my mentor, Clarence McMillan, a humble guy.
Okay, that's beautiful.
You know what I'm saying?
You came a long way. That's awesome.
Praise God.
From somebody who did not want to act at all, what did you want to do when you were younger?
Well, my thing was always music.
Just
the
music.
Thing about it is I was always in my mother's living room
Just
playing music.
Yeah.
You know, and the thing about Skipper, I wanted to mention, I don't want to go too far, is that the opening scene, I'm not gonna give him too much. It's me playing my records. You know, it takes me back to my childhood. When I was 4 and 5 years old, my mother said, "You keep on messing with my record player, I'm gonna tear your butt up." You know, but it was
scratching
for real.
Up my records.
But I never thought that I was gonna actually be doing a reenactment of somebody else's life on stage playing records.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm really in love with it. I'm in tune with it, the chemistry.
Okay. And Mr. David Walden, what was the first play that you directed?
This is actually the first play that I directed.
Okay.
I've been doing a little, I've been doing a little acting here and there. And so when I first came to this play, Steve-O was already there. And so I was acting. I had the biggest part in this stage play.
Yes.
The biggest dialogue part.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned the dialogue and did real good. But my dad wrote this play out of the other 14 manuscripts that he wrote.
Wait, say your dad's name.
My dad is Oscar Walden Jr.
I wanted to see. I was like,
he's a genius.
You related to him? Oh my God. Yeah. That's why I said you guys are coming back. You guys are coming back. I'm so excited.
Wow, awesome.
Okay, your dad's name again?
Dr. Pastor Oscar Walden Jr.
Y'all remember that name. Remember that name. That's an important name.
Yes.
It really is. And I could go on all evening speaking about what he has accomplished.
Yes, tremendously.
But anyway, my dad, Reverend Oscar Walden Jr., got the rights from Milton Lee Olive III's dad to do this play, because his dad actually asked my dad, could he do an autobiography? My dad said, "No, your son died too young. Let me think on it." So he went and thought on it, and he said, "Look, I can do a stage play about your son." He said, "Please, I want to keep his legacy alive, as an unsung hero." And so my dad wrote the stage play. And when I became involved in this same stage play right here, being that I'm a writer also, and an editor and a proofreader, I looked at the stage play and I'm like, wait a minute, where's the intermission? It had no intermission.
Yes.
He's a long way. My dad's a writer, but stage is a little different. You know what I'm saying? So I put an intermission in, and I put some other goodies in, and here and there, and now it's ready for Schubert.
Yes.
We're just going through the motion. Yeah, it's ready for Schubert.
Yeah.
That's our next step.
Can you break down Schubert for those who may not know what that is?
Wow.
That's the Schubert Theater downtown. The Schubert Theater, the Black Ensemble Theater, places like that. That's where we're focusing on next. This is just a stepping stone at Olive Harvey College, but that's where we're going to be at February 23rd and March the 2nd. Olive Harvey College Auditorium. We will be there from 6 o'clock to 9 o'clock. And you will see some of the great talent that's sitting next to me, Stephen Mosley. You'll see Stephen Mosley at his best. You know, he is good. He is real good. And a great intellectual individual to work with. And also too, before I forget, I thank Intellectual Radio and April Deshawn for having us. Thank you so much.
Thank you guys for coming and giving me this exclusive. Now, is your father still with us?
He is. He's 87 years old.
So I want the exclusive with your father, you and Stephen. I want you guys, I'm going to invite you guys back. I get the exclusive. Anybody else ask? No. Okay. We already promised April Deshawn. After we go on April Deshawn show, then
everybody else can run with us.
Yes. I get
because you'll be the first.
I got news for you, April. When he comes on this show, he's going to take over because he is. He's going to take over. He is so educated, and don't let him bring all his stuff, his diplomas, his master's degrees, his discipline, his he got so many degrees. Unbelievable.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm the type of person that's very open. I'm always open to listen and to learn, to be educated, because it's all about self-development and growth. That's important.
That's right.
So I'm open to hear whatever he has to say, and I definitely want to be able to get it out to the public, because I'm sure a lot of people need that knowledge that he has, you know, being who he is and being gone through what he's gone through. Yes. So how specifically do you feel, or not, the word is not feel that I want to use. What are your thoughts on the injustice of Dr. Reverend Walding Jr.? Not only did he endure, but he persevered in the midst of a storm, handwriting and typing out 14 manuscripts, as you mentioned, in prison for a crime that he did not commit. What are your thoughts about that?
I'm glad you asked, you know, because I failed to mention that he's also a civil rights activist behind the injustice that transpired against him. You know, he was incarcerated for 13 years and 9 months for a crime that he did not do. And he met the guy that actually did the crime and admitted that he did the crime. And then the lady that claimed that he raped her, white lady, she came to and admitted that it was not him after all these years. And they still, the governor had to pardon him, gave him a pardon on reality, on because of the, you know, the founded evidence that came forth. He did not do the crime. And believe it or not, that the guy that did the crime actually had my dad had real thick pop bottle glasses. This guy had the same kind of glasses.
Wow.
Same kind of glasses. Yep.
Did he even look like your father at all?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. He did. They both looked, they both similar. Slim and, you know, and things like that.
Wow. Yeah, that's an awesome story. I'm definitely going to have you guys back.
Oh man, he had really ugly stuff that happened to him. Those was in the days when the police were torturing people.
Yes.
Beating
They're
their
still
knuckles
doing it. They're still doing it.
Beating their knuckles and stuff. Yeah. Beating confessions out of them. So they actually beat a confession out of him. He was on his way to school when this happened. He was dealing with trying to be a minister and a musician.
Yeah.
At the same time, and going to school. He didn't have time for stuff like that.
Yes, absolutely. And it's sad to say that those things have been going on for a long time and they're still happening today. Yeah. So we're going to move right along from that. In your perspective, Mr. Walding, what does it take to earn a leading role in a hit stage play?
What does it take? Ooh, that's a good one. Well, first off, it takes dedication. It takes insight. It takes vision. You have to want this thing. Like you just said when you just came on the show, who you were and what what you getting ready to do and what you about. That's what an actor or actress has to have. That kind of
Passion.
Passion. Thank you. That kind of passion. You know, hey, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this the way it's supposed to be done. And if I can't do it, I'm going to find out how to do it. I'm going to do it.
That's right.
You know, if somebody else can do it, I can do it too. You know, and you know, then you have to experience the stage, you know, to see where you're at. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been on stage and I don't have stage fright. That you know, they say when the going gets tough, the tough get going. When I get on stage, I'm performing. That's all I'm doing. I'm into the entertaining. I'm an entertainer.
Yeah.
That's who I am. That's what I do. That's what I love doing. So, you know, when I get out, I get charged up. I'm charged up on stage. I'm ready to run across the stage. You know, and everything else goes to the wind. So that's why I try to instill in my cast members. You know, if you're scared in this practice that you're doing, you're going to be more scared on stage. You have to get comfortable in your practice. And in order to get comfortable, you have to get involved. Get into it, into your character. Come out with yourself. And if you do that in practice, you do that on stage.
Yes.
I absolutely agree. Like I said, I was a stay-at-home mother. So my children, I was very involved with them with school. They were in performing arts. And I ended up a lot of times being a coach for the performing arts. So with my girls and anybody who was in any of the performances that I had in elementary school, it was girls and boys. In high school, it was mostly females that were on the dance team. But that was my thing. I was like, okay, we're practicing. Then once we got to a certain point, we're performing. We may be in this room and you may think this is a practice, but this is not a practice. This is a performance. You know these moves now. At this point, there is no more practice. Every time I see you do this, this is a performance.
Yes, it is.
Every time you in your house and you doing it, if you know all the moves, this is a performance. And we had like 1 year we went to the competition and it was like only maybe 4 girls. And we got like first place, second place, something like that. I can't remember. But I don't remember if we won, but I think we got second place. It may have not been first place, it may have been second place, but it was only 4 girls on the floor.
Isn't that something?
Second place.
Wow.
You don't go to competition and win second place with 4 girls on the floor. You don't. It doesn't happen. So it was
hard work.
Yes, it was awesome. And those the girls that stayed were passionate. We started with probably about 16 girls.
Wow.
But they didn't all last. They didn't all last because I was one of those people that I was like, look, we're gonna do this and we're gonna do it right. I don't want to take you out here and you look like a fool. I don't want to have my name on it and it look crazy. So I need you to step it up and do this and do that. And I'm like, okay, if I can go out here and practice, I would do the things that I'm telling them to do. So I'm like, I'm older than you. If I can do this, I know that you can make this happen. So it was that type of thing. So I definitely agree with you and agree and feel all your passion.
Right.
Okay.
Now, Steven, in your perspective, what would an actor or artist regard as the qualities for being under a great director?
Well, I thank God for being under a great director, and I've seen this play has come a long ways, especially when we had an original script, but it was on one of those old Underwood typewriters where the words was leaning off the page towards you like they was going to attack you. So thank God for David's gift as being a creative writer, and everything has made the character come even more to life for me. It made it more easier for me to really obtain my part and do it to the best of my ability. And at the end of the day, be able to take the constructive criticism, you know, and if they say, well, don't be so aggressive with the character, you know, be a little bit more laid back. It was a lot of grooming. And believe it or not, it's still a lot of grooming left. Because at the end of the day, you know, you want this. We've been fighting for this for a long time. And I said fighting because you have to deal with politics, you know what I'm saying, in this world. You know, the people that make up politics, should I say. And they kind of like put up a wall and the barrier, make it hard for you. But when you keep your faith in God, you know what I'm saying, and keep your craft sharp, you know, more doors open up. And as a prime example, you end up on Everyday People show with April.
Yes, you know you made it.
So, you know, I mean, that's what makes it up, and that's what has made me an even more greater actor, to the point now where we even connecting with Skipper's relatives, his real relatives, is gonna, you know, come and support, and some people that want to give me some more feedback that was close to him, that's his age, where I can really get a feel of what his personality was like.
Yes.
Because me and Skipper had like some similarities, because he's always trying to do something positive. But the thing about it is that it's nothing like knowing the character and knowing the personality of a person instead of actually trying to imagine.
Yeah.
So that's a blessing. So when you just love what you do, because let me correct myself. I really didn't have a love for acting, but the thing about it was one of my gifts that I didn't realize I had within myself.
But you came to love it.
Thank you. That's like with Jamie Foxx. His number one love was music, but his doors as a comedian on those days of being in living color opened up doors for his music.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And especially when he did Ray, that was one of the best films he ever did. That was one of the best films even recorded in the history in the world. Ray.
That was cool.
That was yeah, he did that. Jamie Foxx did his thing in that. Shout outs to Jamie Foxx too, y'all.
Yes.
Yeah.
So tell
Hello,
us, tell us about when the play is coming out, because I think you said that some people are going to come out that actually his family members are going to be there.
Right.
What is the date and time for that?
Well, the college, like I said, the school Olive Harvey is named after him.
Okay.
And everything there is newly renovated. Let's stipulate that newly renovated, and they have a state-of-the-art auditorium. That's when I say it's off the meat rack. It's off the meat rack. When you say something off the meat rack, you know it's off the meat rack. But anyway, to make a long story short, you know,
all the
we have
out there.
The colleges. They so generous enough that they're pretty much sponsoring, you know, as far as a facility, as far as a venue for us. We've given them a night, which is February 22nd, which is actually the opening night, where it's open to the faculty, staff, and even people just, I guess, like in political, whatever. Okay. You know what I'm saying? And then
so that's a special presentation.
Okay. Exactly.
You have to be definitely invited.
Exactly. So, you know. Well, you know, you never know. Spike Lee, somebody might be sitting in the audience. They might have one of their guys there, Tyler. You don't know who's gonna be sitting there.
Yes.
Because we didn't blew this thing up. We ain't just started doing this thing, okay?
Yep.
Definitely.
Yeah, so I'm excited.
And then the performances for the public is Friday, February 23rd.
And you're right, exactly.
And Friday, March 2nd.
Yeah.
At 6 p.m. At Olive Harvey College Auditorium. And the address is 10001 South Woodland Avenue in Chicago, Illinois. It's $20 in advance and $25 at the door. If you want to purchase your tickets in advance, the number to call is 773-701-2419. And that's for any more information you need or tickets.
Yes.
So you guys make sure you call that number, get your tickets. You do not want to miss
tickets.
Hit stage play Skipper.
Yes.
It's going to be a dynamic.
Yeah.
All right. So we have a little sidebar over here. I can't tell you guys about it. It's okay. What intrigues you most about the life of Milton Oliver Lee III, Stephen?
What intrigues me the most was that when I first got the role, well, I had it several times before I accepted it. 3 times I turned it down. But getting to that part is that what was going through his mind when he threw himself on a grenade. That's deep. To this day, I'm like, whoa. I'm like, because you look at everything in this world, you know, and especially the way people are now, like, how could you give your life for a lot of people that are ungrateful? But, you know, there had to be an act of God.
Jesus. Because
Christ is the only man that I ever known in history to ever lay down his life over any man for his, you know, for the people. For the people, he laid down his life. So that was the act of Christ that he did.
Yes.
He didn't probably even realize what he was doing, but because of the sense of urgency is what made him respond to the call of duty.
Absolutely.
And in the process, saved 5 members in his platoon, and 2 of them were ex-racists. Notice I said ex-racist. They're no longer racist.
Absolutely.
That's correct.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Mr. Walden, do you agree, and do you have anything to add to that?
Yes. Oh, one thing I want to clarify too is the address is actually 103rd and Woodline.
Right.
You come down 103rd Street, and it's right there on the corner of Woodline.
It's right off the Bishop Ford.
Yeah, Olive Harvey College is right off the Bishop Ford.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Many times during this play in the last 8 years, I have thought about that also. After it happened, he had a profound effect on the people that he saved and their families, and a whole lot of other people too. You know, Olive Harvey College was named after him, and the park next to Navy Pier was named after him, and some other places too in other parts of the
world,
the states, the United States. But the dedication that it must have took at the spirit of the moment,
right?
I don't think I possess that. You know, I
don't think none of us possess that.
I mean, that took guts to do that, to save his platoon. That took a different kind of individual, special type of individual to do that. They say he grabbed they say he seen the grenade coming and grabbed it out the air and put it to the stomach and blew his stomach out. And
wow.
And he bent over like that
and took the impact.
Yeah, and saved the members of his platoon. Like he said, 2 of them was racist.
Yeah.
They're no longer racist now. In fact, they do community work in the community for blacks, to empower black people and stuff like that.
Yes, that's an awesome gift to just give your life for other people. It's the ultimate gift.
And people like that should be remembered.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah, people like that. It should be known that there's people like that in the world.
That's right.
I mean, it's some people that wouldn't even give their life for their family.
Shoot.
They wife and their children, they'll probably run away.
Lay down his life. That's right.
No greater love. Now, Stephen, you are also the director of a men's ministry.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Well, I'm glad you asked. It's called Journey Home Outreach Ministries, a church without walls. I've been partnering with that ministry for about a decade, a milestone. Can you believe that? And this young lady started out as a spoken word artist. She's a pastor now. Her name, I met her as Sister Poochie.
Okay.
On the spoken word set. And I recall her prophesying to me, telling me that you speaking like you speaking in front of a whole arena of people. And we was in this one building, in this one space, one classroom. But because of when you're passionate about something, you can hear it, you can feel it, you speaking into existence. So to make a long story short, we have a virtual retreat that's coming up worldwide, where we got United States, we got people all over Hong Kong, we got people in Singapore, all different other countries, especially over in Africa, all they're just tuning in and tapping into the Journey Home Outreach Ministries. I was the former board of directors, but because of life situations, it forced me to step down. But here it is, almost about 7 years later, where Sister Poochie says, well, Steve, I was thinking God put you in my spirit. I was thinking that the other guy resigned from being with the men's ministry. I was thinking maybe you may want to consider being the director of the men's ministry. And at that time, I needed that motivation in my life, because what I was experiencing with my own family, and even with my daughter, that's been a grandfather now, and just all the different changes, even with losing my brothers, I said, now's the platform. My mother even told me, well, you can be a great motivational speaker. As a prime example, Sister Poochie, saying we're going to get online, and this would be an avenue. I said, this would be an avenue for you to give your testimony, and just give the men some hope and inspiration. So from time to time, I try to do as many postings as I possibly can to encourage all of our brothers out here, because we need that. But this, without me even posting every day, it's like people just constantly hitting the page. They're constantly hitting the page. So that just lets me know it's a supernatural thing going on, and it's much bigger than me and anybody else. But it's a privilege. So the only thing I want to do is just be able to have people tune in. It's called the Journey Home Outreach Ministries, and tune into the virtual retreat, and I will share it as well, where people can attend and come in, because it's going to be people from all over the world seeing this. Okay.
And how will people reach you? Do they just go to your Facebook page, or?
They can go to my Facebook page, or they can go to journeyhomeoutreachministries.com.
Okay. Do they just type in Journey Home Outreach, or is it JHOM?
JHOM, short abbreviation.
Okay. JHOM.com.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's opened up a lot of doors, and this opened up my doors for motivational speaking. Because for years I told I should be a motivational speaker, but of course I say, look, I do things in God's time.
Right.
So when it's time for something, like you said, it's time.
Yes.
And it's time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Mr. Walden, you are the founder of Walden Productions, Inc. What exactly do you do at Walden Productions, Inc.?
No, correction, I'm not the founder. Dr. Reverend Oscar Walden Jr.
Okay.
is the founder.
That's right.
Okay.
And I came on board, and for the last 8 years, I have done everything that needed to be done.
Okay.
I have picked up some stuff and learned some stuff, and had to be trained on some stuff, and some, I'm talking about writing proposals and some connecting with the schools, with different schools and different.
So you're like the director.
Yeah, different churches and stuff, doing some things like that. And I also wanted to say, I've been telling Steve-O that he could have easily got a DJ job too with his voice. He has an incredible voice.
Yes, he does.
Incredible voice.
Hey,
I just wanted
God.
to throw that in.
Praise
He
God.
sounds like he's supposed to be on the radio. He
reminds
me, when he's saying praise God, he reminds me of Soul Train guy.
Don
Don
Cornelius.
Cornelius.
And you know who they call me too a lot? Lou Rawls.
Yes.
And,
that too.
Perfect.
And giving shout out to my boy Farley Funkmaster, the king of house music. If you're listening out there, to that offer he gave me for the Lou Rawls single. Whenever we get ready to record it, see you when I get there. I see you when I get there.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
And like I tell my cast members, practice makes you perfect.
That's right.
You can actually get in this thing right now. Listening audience, please hear this. You can get in this thing right now and start practicing, and you will become perfect.
Yes, you
according to your dedication and what you want out of this life.
That's right.
Practice makes you perfect. The more you practice, the more you start feeling who you need to be, and in concert with the character. It grows on you. You wouldn't believe how this grows on. You just grow into that character.
Mm-hmm.
That's serious. That's real talk.
That's right.
Blessings.
Yes,
Blessings. I
yes.
love it. I love it. Thank you, Lord. I love
Yes,
it.
praise God.
This is awesome.
On the
Yes.
Everyday People show,
Yes,
right?
the Everyday with your host, April Deshawn.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
I love it.
Almost
I love
like
it.
Bonnie Deshawn, huh?
April Deshawn.
That's you kind of put me in the mind of. You have to simulate. You said April Deshawn. Now wait a minute, don't get it twisted.
Unfortunately, we're not
Okay.
related, but kudos, Miss Bonnie Deshawn. You rock.
Shout out to Bonnie Deshawn.
You rock.
Yes.
So I greatly appreciate that. This is awesome. This is
Yes.
awesome and blessing to have this platform to be able to introduce this to the people.
Yes,
I love it. Just in general in life, how important would you say it is to have a support system? You first, Mr. Walden.
Oh, most definitely. I tell my cast members all the time.
Mhm.
Right now, we are family.
Yes.
We are family.
Ooh.
The better that we get along, like in unity, the more productive this family will be.
That's right.
And the quicker we will get from point A to point B.
Mhm.
If we work together, not the bickering, hey, we can all talk about it. We can
Mhm.
work things out.
That's right.
I am my brother's keeper. It goes back, everything goes back to scripture.
That's right.
Everything. The book of Proverbs is so powerful. It tells you, it told you thousands of years ago what is a reality today. It still applies to today. It tells you that in all you're getting, get understanding.
Mhm.
Wisdom is the principal thing.
That's right.
Those things are true today. You can be a doctor, a lawyer, whatever you want to be. You can be that. Just put your heart and your mind to it and set your eyes on that goal
Mhm.
and go for it.
That's right.
Put it first in your life.
That's right.
It's important that we speak and intake positivity into our spirits.
That's right.
And that we spread it amongst each other.
That's right.
And that's the only way to heal, and that's the only way to grow. We have to stop all the negativity, all the talking behind people's back and gossiping. It's all types of different ways to gossip. I just learned a lot of different ways. It could be an innocent thing. You think you're being innocent about it, talking about somebody. If they're not in the presence of the room, they can't represent themselves, then it's gossip. Unfortunately. Yes. So that's important. Now we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up because we're running out of time. I'm just gonna ask you both. I'm gonna ask you both a question.
Okay.
Or do you have anything to add to what Mr. Walden said?
Well, I would say a support system is pretty much, God gives us all a vision, and we're all doing the same thing for the same common cause and purpose. Are we supposed to be doing the same thing for the same common cause and purpose?
Amen.
So, which means that we're a support system. That's your support system is your foundation, which means that you don't have to worry about going to the different organizations and groups and banks and people and begging or robbing Peter to pay Paul. We are the money, which means that at the end of the day, if I support you, automatically you should support me. We all have a vision. So we get behind the one that's got the strongest and support it. So guess what? Everybody's in line.
Full circle.
And it comes right back around. So the more that you supporting each other and helping the next person, you're growing yourself. Your network is your net worth.
Amen. Beautiful. High fives. High fives all around.
Yes.
Now, at the end of your life, what do you hope to have accomplished and witnessed, Mr. Walden? At the end.
That's a hard one right there. Well, it goes back to the question that you just asked. When you get my age, you learn to do just that. Sincerely support.
Yeah.
Support children more than you did when they were little.
That's right.
Support grandchildren and support great-grandchildren. Not only that, but support people that you estimate that really need your support. Like me. I take for instance, I'm just gonna be real and frank with you. I support females that I see begging on the street. I might give them $20.
Wow.
Because I don't want to see my females out there. Now a male is a different story. I see young guys out there on the street. I'm like, they shouldn't be out there. They should be, beat drums stuff. They should be somewhere trying to do some work or something like that. But then again, I have to look at them and say, they probably haven't had the home training that they need to have. So my thing is at this point is forgive, do the principles of the scriptures, forgive, repent, and help people. Because in helping people, you get helped.
That's right.
By the helper.
That's right. That's right.
And that has been my experience.
And when you encounter the young men, are you able to reach out to them and speak with them? Do they listen to you?
Sometimes I do. And you have to have a discerning spirit.
Oh yeah.
You have to, what the scriptures say, don't waste pearls on swine. I don't even try to talk to a person that's intoxicated or drugged out or stuff like that. I tend to talk to people who listen. If a person is rebellious and, I'm sorry, excuse me, please forgive me. I thought you were someone else, and I'm gone.
That's right.
Someone you have to be ready to receive.
That's right.
So you have to be ready to receive.
That's
people that are not ready to receive, they might do something to you.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true.
Yeah.
Not that I'm scared,
I'm in practice
cautious.
of being a better person. And one of the things that one of the affirmations that I read, one of them says, it's by Dalai Lama. It says to don't think badly about others.
Right.
Right. So that's my thing. Like when I see somebody, I I already try not to judge people because
Right.
if you judge someone, you're gonna be judged by the same measure. You have no right to judge anyone. You don't know what's going on in their life.
That's right.
So-
That's very true.
Yeah, you just have to
Exactly.
always be open.
Yes.
Stephen, at the end of your life, what do you hope to have accomplished and witnessed?
Well, I definitely don't want my living to be in vain. You know, and the Clark sisters got a song called "Is My Living in Vain?
Yes, I
Is
love
My
that song.
Giving in Vain?" I don't want none of that to be in vain. Because at the end of the day, only thing I want God to say is, "Thou what does the scripture say?
Job well done.
Job well done, thou good and faithful
Faithful servant."
servant." That's all I want because
Yeah.
first of all, ain't no other man gonna get the glory but God.
Yes.
So it's not about me. The thing about it is if I can be able to, when the Lord bless me to be wealthy and to be in a high position, to be able to just give back and help. Because when you leave, that's the whole purpose of chasing behind a dream and a goal, is to give back, to love first of all, and to give back. Because you ain't loving and giving back on Judgment Day, you're definitely gonna have to be judged because you don't know who God is. God is in all of us. So we got to be very careful about how we treat the next individual.
Definitely.
Like I didn't know how I was going to get somewhere for 4 days last week, but the Lord made a way. And guess what? Man saw me today. My flesh was going to walk past me. Like, I got to get to where I'm going. And actually, I was getting ready to go to the Bible so we can come to this interview. The Lord said, hold on now. I'm the one put the interview on the table. So you need to slow down and pump your brakes and go back and swipe that card because I gave you that card. I said, whoa. I stopped in my tracks and turned back around. I said, sir, please forgive me. The Lord just sent me back to you. He said, man, we were just talking about that. They're going to tell you when you obey God,
Yes.
things will line up because even though things were, but the Lord still blessed us to be here, to get here, to even do this. Because this is history. This is history right here.
Absolutely.
This is history right here, being able to change. Not just being a history, just as being history as it's been, but it's changed. You know, that song by Sam Cooke, change is going to come. And the change has come. The change is here. So that's all the words I have to say.
Awesome.
Hallelujah.
Yes, enjoy.
Awesome. I greatly appreciate you guys for coming
Yes, appreciate
and
you.
sharing. It's been awesome. I told you guys you're going to be blessed. If you stay, you're going to be blessed. If you're watching, you're listening, you were blessed, weren't you?
Yes,
You can go ahead and put the comments in there. Go and put your hearts up. I know you were blessed because I was blessed. So bless my socks off. So this was a wonderful.
Y'all keep on supporting my girl April right here, right? From the Everyday People Show. Don't get it twisted.
Yes. Everyday People Radio Show with April Deshawn on
Yes.
Intellectual Radio. This is
Yes.
at Our Heart Station. Woo, woo. So you guys make sure you go out and check out Skipper at Olive Harvey on February 23rd and March 2nd at 6 p.m. It's going to be an awesome show.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is.
At
And make
Olive
sure you
Harvey
support,
College.
support.
Yes.
Who shall separate us from the love of Christ? Shall tribulation or distress or persecution or famine or nakedness or peril or sword? Shall your pink slip from your job or your demotion?
I'll see you
Nothing
again
shall
on
separate us from the
Wednesday
Lord.
from 5 p.m.
Neither
to
shall
6
your
p.m. here
final
on Everyday People
separation.
Radio with April Deshawn
Separation.
on Intellectual Radio and
Clean hands
iHeartRadio
is a separation
station.
after the court
We'll see you
litigation.
next week. Peace.
Separating your children after the infidel situation, causing a custody dissipation. Neither shall legislation, martial law putting you under a regulation. Neither shall demonic, Masonic infiltration. Neither shall new world order impartation. Nothing shall be able to separate us from the love of God, which is in Christ Jesus our Lord. For I am persuaded that neither death of our friend, foe, dead, sister, bro, niece, nephew, cuz, or any kinfolks, neither the death of your income, your license being revoked, bill collectors you want to choke, not the vodka, the rum, the booze, the bruise, the gin, the dope, not the side screen contact smoke, nor the pill popper, nor the sniffing the coke, nor your car, furniture, house being repossessed on the fact that you just dead broke. Nothing shall be able to separate us from the love of God, which is in Christ Jesus our Lord. Neither catastrophic, diabolical, massive massacre or destruction, neither tsunami, earthquake, sinkhole, epidemic, outbreak, plague, cause of molecular, physical corruption, Neither H-bomb nor an A-bomb, asteroid, meteor, or comet allegedly hitting the Earth's surface. Neither Holocaust, genocide, famine, recession, allowing other planets of the universe. Nor Aztec, Mayan, no Egyptian, nor Sodom, nor Gomorrah, nor Babylonian practices causing us verses and curses. Neither the preservation of FEMA coffins, the elite group underground reservations. Not population reduction, the rich getting richer, nor economic, nor ethnic background.